The battle for Bakhmut, which Russia views as a stepping stone to other cities in Ukraine's eastern Donbas region, has been the scene of the most intense fighting in months, costing thousands of lives on both sides. Ukrainian forces have been pushed back in recent weeks, but have managed to maintain control of the area while inflicting as many losses as possible on the Russian regular troops and fighters from the Wagner mercenary group. The ground fighting continued less than a week after Russian officials accused Ukraine of trying to kill Putin after 2 drones were spotted near the Kremlin, one of which collided with a physical structure. Meanwhile, Russia's Wagner mercenary group appears to have abandoned plans to withdraw from Bakhmut, saying they had been promised more weapons by Russia. In Bakhmut, Ukrainian Armed Forces gunners destroyed a Russian invaders' machine gun emplacement, which they had positioned on one of the top floors of a multi-story building, with fire from the American 155mm M777 cannon. Newsweek was unable to verify whether the machine gun belonged to the Wagner Group or the Russian NADPost. Rob Lee, a senior fellow at the Foreign Policy Research Institute, tweeted that the weapons belonged to Wagner. The eastern city of Bakhmut in Ukraine's Donetsk region continues to be a center of violence, as Ukrainian forces regularly engage Wagner Group mercenaries led by Yevgeny Prigozhin. Prigozhin has repeatedly criticized the Russian Ministry of Defense for a lack of ammunition and supplies, in addition to accusations of high treason. Last night, the air defenses shot down 23 of the 25 cruise missiles launched by the Russian invaders over Ukraine. The Air Force Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine announced this early in the morning on its Facebook page. Note that this is a record for the number of missiles shot down during a single missile strike. At around 4 in the morning of May 9, the invaders launched 17 X-100 and 1/X-555 air-based cruise missiles from 4 295 milliseconds strategic aircraft in the Caspian Sea region. PC Center destroyed 14 of them. PC South is yet another. Meanwhile, the armed forces of Ukraine periodically accurately covered the positions of the Russian fascist invaders in the south, where no direct hostilities were active. We are talking about the left bank of the Kherson and Zaporozhye regions. Ukraine has long been expected to launch a spring counteroffensive against Russian troops, although Kyiv has remained silent about its military strategy. Instead, Russia is likely to focus on logistical and other considerations for defense operations across Ukraine in anticipation of this concerted push from Kyiv, the Washington-based Institute for the Study of War said. Ukrainian intelligence had warned about a possible Russian provocation on the occasion of May 9, and the Kyiv Military Command said it had shot down 35 suicide drones and 16 missiles used to strike Ukrainian territory ahead of the event. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces said in its morning update that the enemy is again attacking Ukrainian territory, using Iranian Shade attack drones, claiming 35 out of 35 drones were destroyed by our defenders. It said the missile attacks targeted the Kharkiv, Kherson, Mykolaiv, and Odessa regions and caused human casualties. Russian President Vladimir Putin walked from the Kremlin to Red Square to be greeted by rows of military personnel on Tuesday as the start of Victory Day celebrations to mark the anniversary of Nazi Germany's defeat in the Second World War. In a speech in Red Square as part of Russia's Victory Day celebrations, Putin said Russia wants to see a peaceful future and said that the entire country was behind what Russia called a special military operation in Ukraine. Putin said the West had forgotten the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in 1945. The anniversary is even more emotional as Russia mourns the thousands of soldiers who died in the nearly 15-month war in Ukraine, which shows no signs of ending. Putin has used Russia's May 9 Victory Day celebrations in recent years to promote his argument that Ukraine is gripped by fascism akin to Nazi Germany. The allegations are viewed by Kiev and its allies as baseless claims used as another pretext for a Russian invasion. More than 20 Russian cities have canceled this year's Victory Day parades, while celebrations in Moscow have been reduced. Ukrainian officials say fighting has intensified in Bakhmut, which Ukrainian and Russian troops have been fighting for months, as part of the Kremlin's bid to seize the eastern Ukrainian city on May 9. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported on May 9 that Russia had lost 195,620 soldiers in Ukraine since the start of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes the 650 casualties suffered by Russian forces over the past few days. On the other hand, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky marked the anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe by saying his nation would win over Russia when the head of a Russian paramilitary group linked to the Kremlin claimed his troops were advancing on the hotly contested city of Bakhmut. In early May, the head of the Wagner Group paramilitary force fighting on behalf of the Kremlin in Ukraine, Yevgeny Prigozhin, said he believed the advance of the Ukrainian army has already begun. "I believe that everything will enter the active phase in the near future," Prigozhin said, according to a Reuters translation of the audio clip. "Could be in a matter of days." The chief mercenary had previously called the counterattack inevitable. Ukraine has long said it is committed to retaking territory controlled by Russia, including the annexed Crimean Peninsula, which Moscow has claimed since 2014. Meanwhile, Serhiy Lysak, head of the military administration of the Dnipropetrovsk region, said that the anti-aircraft defense shot down all 8 missiles. But as a result of the debris that fell on the Dnipro, a 32-year-old woman was injured and was hospitalized. Attacks on Russian infrastructure, including drone attacks on refineries and train sabotage, have multiplied in recent weeks and are also seen as part of Ukraine's preparations for a spring offensive aimed at targeting the Russian army's supply chain in border areas and in Crimea.